I call Jami-Lee Ross.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I am disappointed but not surprised to hear that the New Zealand First Party is not supporting this bill. I often find myself in the position where I'm following Mr Tabuto in these debates, and once again I wish to correct him on his inaccuracies and the false statements he has made to this House. He's very wrong in a number of points. At the heart of this bill, Mr Speaker, it's all about introducing greater fairness for all taxpayers, and Mr Speaker, it's all about ensuring that those who are speculating on property do pay their fair share of tax. And Mr Speaker, rather than making it more complex, as has been described by Mr Tabuto, it actually makes it far simpler for New Zealanders and those paying tax to understand how the system works. There has always been an intentions-based test, where if one is purchasing property with the intention of trading that property for income, then they should be paying tax. The difficulty is that's very subjective. Mr Speaker, this bill is all about introducing a bright line test which makes it a lot easier for individuals to determine whether or not they should be paying tax. Should they buy and sell a property within 2 years and it is not their own home, or it's not part of a deceased estate or a marital settlement, then they should be paying tax. That is greater simplicity for all taxpayers. That is a good thing for the tax system, and that is why this government supports this bill. Mr Tabuto is wrong on his argument that the Inland Revenue Department does not want to enforce the existing rules. Absolutely wrong. This government, under successive ministers and under Bill English, have put millions of dollars into enforcing the current rules. It has paid dividends for New Zealand. We've put in $33 million since 2010 to ensure that property tax compliance has increased in New Zealand, and as a result we've seen $258 million of tax revenue come in. For every dollar we have put into tax compliance, we have received $8 back. Mr Speaker, that is good for the government, that is good for taxpayers, but what's more important is that now we look to greater fairness within the tax rules, and that is what this bill is all about. Mr Speaker, I also want to tackle the arguments that's been proposed by Mr Tabuto about foreign buyers. Mr Speaker, if one is to stand in this House and say that no person who is from another country and has migrated to this country should be able to buy a property, that is what you are saying. That is what he has said, Mr Twyford has said. That is what... point of order, Mr Speaker. Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Jami-Lee Ross.
Mr Speaker, I've got a pretty thick skin, but I take exception to that.
Yes, I think the member with... I'm referring to the member who made those comments. I'll ask the member to withdraw those comments. You can't refer to another member in that manner.
I withdraw.
Jami-Lee Ross.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. There are people in this House who have argued for many, many years now that foreigners should not be able to buy property. Well, if one is to say that, then they should also be honest and say that no one would be willing to come here and bring their skills to this country. No one would be willing to come here and invest and bring capital to this country. No one would be willing to come here, Mr Speaker, and migrate and bring their family for investment or skills purposes. Mr Speaker, because that's the reality of saying no to foreigners. Mr Speaker, this bill is about greater fairness. Attacking Chinese, attacking migrants is not the answer, Mr Speaker. And if the New Zealand First Party wants to continue to go on about supposedly foreigners, people that don't look like them, then ask them to really look in the mirror and say to themselves, when they go on the grey power circuit, are they going to be honest with the people with the thick British accents and say no one should be able to buy property in this country if they're not from New Zealand originally? Mr Speaker, that is not the answer to housing in New Zealand. The answer is greater fairness. The answer is greater...
point of order. Phil Twyford.
The member is willfully misrepresenting other members in this House.
No. Look, these are debating points. So, Jami-Lee Ross.
I've almost finished, Mr Speaker. The answer is greater fairness. The answer is to ensure more houses are being built in New Zealand and in Auckland particularly, and that is what this government is doing.
Are they...